Alright guys, so today we're here to talk about the brand new Skullcandy Sesh ANC Active. Now, if you've followed the channel for a while, you know that I haven't necessarily had the best luck with Skullcandy earbuds. Now, a long time ago, I was a huge fan of Skullcandy's headphones and even their gaming headsets. I felt like they did something that kind of separated themselves and made them unique, whether it be designs, colors, the Crusher lineup where you had the haptic feedback. They just always kind of offered something a little bit different. But since they've come out with true wireless earbuds, I haven't necessarily seen anything that's made them stand out too much. I don't remember what the name of the first earbud was, but it was so expensive for what you were getting. It was some of the worst battery life that I had ever seen. But they kind of progressed a little bit since then. And so the new Skullcandy Sesh ANC Active could be the best earbud they've had yet. We're going to talk about some of the features they have. We're definitely going to talk about the sound, what all comes inside the box, and see if it's worth the $89 price tag. So first off, I want to start with the design and the look of these, because for these to be the Sesh ANC Active, I kind of expected these to look like the Sesh ANC, like the normal ones, because slapping Active on it usually just means you're adding a little bit more water protection, and that's really about it normally. You're not going to get a whole lot of different features or anything compared to the original ones. But that's not necessarily the case here, because the design of the case, much more solid. It even has this little fabric loop on it so you can connect it to your bag. The earbuds themselves even have a completely different design. They are much more comfortable, definitely a little bit more rugged, because these have an IP67 rating. So on top of being pretty much water protected against rain and splashes and sweat and even dropping them into water, you even have protection against dust as well. So you can use them at the beach or if you work on a construction site and not really have to worry about things like that. Now, as far as some of the features on here, it does have Google's Fast Pair. So, as soon as you open up the lid, you'll see it pop up on your screen to easily connect. If you have an Android device, it does have multi-point connection, so you can connect to more than one device at a time. It also has the Spotify tap feature, which if you're familiar with this, is basically where you can just tap your earbuds and it will just go right into playing music without having to open up the app, without having to go to the song. It just makes it pretty easy to just pop the earbuds in and just start listening. And then outside of that, this pair has active noise canceling, obviously with ANC being in the name, and it has an aware mode, which we'll talk about that in just a second. Now, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna download Skullcandy's app. I actually like Skullcandy's app. I like the design. I like the fact that it kind of fits the style of their earbuds. It doesn't have like a generic look to it like a lot of the other earbuds that we test. But within the app, this is how you will keep the earbuds updated. There are some EQ options. There's also Skullcandy's like personalized EQ. This is important. We'll talk about this again a little bit more once we go into the sound. But also within the app, this is how you turn on your gaming mode. You can also go in and switch around some controls, because the earbuds do use touch controls, but out of the box, they don't give you control over everything. You actually do need to go into the app and switch some things around to be able to have your play, your pause, skipping your tracks forward, going backwards, and also your volume control. Now let's just go ahead and talk about the noise canceling, because within the app, you can turn the noise canceling on, you can turn the awareness mode on, or you can just turn it off. That's 3 different listening modes that you have. But in the noise canceling mode, you actually have a slider so you can tell it how much noise you want it to block out. But I do want to say this, the noise canceling on these, it's not really that effective. I think it does an okay job, just barely okay job against blocking out lower tones. But really don't consider buying these simply based off noise canceling alone. And same thing with the awareness mode. The awareness mode makes it where you can slightly hear some things around you, but it's not to the point where if you're listening to music and you have it in awareness mode, that you can really hear the things around you. You almost still have to pause your music, and that way you can actually carry on a conversation or really be aware of the things that are going around you. It kind of defeats the purpose of awareness mode, where you can listen to your music and still hear traffic and still hear some of those things around you. Again, it doesn't seem like these modes are really that effective. Now, as far as what all you get inside the box, it does come with 3 sets of silicone ear tips. It does come with a USB-C cable, which you are going to have to use the USB-C cable to charge these. because the case on these is not a Qi wireless charging case. And in this price range, that's kind of disappointing. I think a lot of people are going to expect wireless charging on anything that's kind of close to $100 because we've seen it on earbuds all the way down to like $50 and some that are even under $50 that have wireless charging. So this again is another thing that is disappointing. And speaking of the charging, the battery life on these are actually impressive. Now that's whether you have these with the noise canceling on or whether the noise canceling off. With the noise canceling off, you're gonna get about 9 hours on the earbuds and about 48 hours using the case. But even with the noise canceling on, you're still going to get about 6 hours on the earbuds and about 32 hours using the case. And if you do happen to pick these up and they're dead, it does have a pretty decent fast charging feature. If you charge these for 10 minutes, you can get about 2 hours of use. So not the best that I've seen, but we've also seen some earbuds lately not even offer fast charging. So it's nice to see that Skullcandy has included that on these. Now, if you are going to use these for taking phone calls, I do think the mics on here are just okay. I think this again kind of goes back to the noise canceling and the awareness mode. I think it could be a little bit better. I do feel like in noisy situations, you can still hear some of that stuff around you, but you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. So here is a mic test outdoors using the Skullcandy Sesh ANC, and I decided to do this outdoors so that you can hear like the wind and birds and some other things going on around me, so you get an idea of what it would sound like if you were to take a call just out and about. So now let's talk about the sound. And before we actually get into the sound, there's a couple things I want to say. I have listened to these pretty much at max volume and still felt that I would like another probably 2 to 3 notches for these to get louder. This is not an extremely loud pair of earbuds, and I think with a pair that's labeled as being active, you're going to be outdoors or you're either going to be in the gym using these. And I think some people are going to want a little bit more volume out of these. That's just something that I happen to notice with them. And another thing that I want to point out are my sound settings. I felt like there's a few different things that I needed to switch around. And I wanted to kind of tell you my settings here so you know what I'm basing the sound off of. But I used these with the noise canceling on. It kind of warmed up the music just a little bit. I did go through the personalized sound test and felt that I still needed to put it in the richer mode, which kind of makes it a little bit more dynamic. And it also kind of elevated the treble a little bit more. And then I still went into the EQ options and turned on the bass boost mode. I kind of felt like this gave these that typical Harman curve, but it elevated the low end quite a bit where the bass had that subwoofer type feel, but it still elevated the treble to the point where it can have that really bright sound. And I think that's like the perfect mix for me. I like a very bright sound to go with a really thick, punchy low end. I like the dynamic tuning, and honestly felt like the mids on here were able to keep up pretty much the whole time and no matter what genre that I was in. So I felt like easy listening to country, to pop, to metal, to hip hop. These sounded really good, especially with all of these different sound settings. Again, the only thing I wish is that I had some more oomph out of the volume. I like to turn things up pretty loud at times, but there are tons of earbuds that I think are loud enough even at half volume, and this is definitely not one of those pairs. Now, when it comes to the sound stage and the sound imaging, because of the noise canceling, which again isn't very strong, and because of the dynamic tuning, it kind of left me feeling like I was in a medium-sized room, but I never had an issue with being able to tell where different sounds are coming from. So my overall thoughts on these is this. In my opinion, I feel like this is Skullcandy's best sounding earbuds out of all of the different ones that I've tested. I don't feel like it's the best noise canceling because I feel like there are some of their other ones that are doing a slightly better job. It is Skullcandy's most comfortable pair of earbuds, at least for me. Again, everybody's ears are going to be different. Same thing with everybody's sound preference. Just because I think these sound the best doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to think that they sound the best. Always keep that in mind when you're watching audio reviews. And really the only thing, again, I'm very disappointed that this doesn't have Qi wireless charging. There's no smart sensors on the earbuds. And with the volume being not as loud as I would like it to be, those are some things that could definitely turn some people away from buying these. But I do want to say this, at under $100, the sound quality that you're getting and the personalization that you get in the sound, the way that you can EQ these, the way that you can change the sound with the noise canceling, also going through that personalized sound, it is very effective. You can get these to sound the way that you want, and I think most people are going to be completely happy with the sound. But also having gaming mode in these to be able to cut down lag and having the battery life that these do, I think are going to get most people through a full work day. It's going to get most people through a week without having to charge these at all when it comes to charging the case. And the fast charging feature is definitely convenient. So I like the direction that Skullcandy's going. I do feel like there's still some things that these need to have, and it's still puzzling because some of these other earbuds that they're releasing in this active lineup, there's some that actually have wireless charging. There's some that actually has louder volume. It's weird how it can be so much different between one earbud to the next, even though they're all from the same brand. But guys, that's my video on the brand new Skullcandy Sesh ANC Active. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.